What is up, podcast community? Welcome back. This is Three Questions Podcast, episode number 26. I'm stoked. We are officially 25 episodes in, and holy cow, we're being listened to around the world. I would love to get more guests onto the podcast. Again, if you want to hop on, we'll talk about some questions that you can answer, we can strategize about. I really love answering a lot of the questions you guys have been submitting. If you'd like to submit questions, you can just email threequestionspodcast@gmail.com or submit them via DM. But I'm seeing the downloads go up. I'm seeing the listens go up, especially when new episodes are released. And I'm trying to get better about recording them so that the cadence is better for you, probably about 2 a week on average. And again, whether you're listening on YouTube or on Spotify or somewhere else, I really appreciate you guys to listen. Just launched a merch store as well. You can find that in the link tree or any of the associated links down below. I'm making shirts, stuff I would wear, stuff for buddies that have asked me to create a few things. I love just being a sort of entrepreneurial guy. So I'm trying different things and just the creative outlets. I really enjoy this. And the podcast is most definitely one of them. Not to mention, so many questions, so many aspects, so many kernels of what we talk about here are coming from coaching sessions. So if I have a coaching session with one of my clients and there's a good talking point or they ask a question, I will often put it in here as a question that I'm sort of proposing or trying to answer or have answered in that, but trying to make it more for a generalist audience. Again, I do not know everything at all. Many of these questions I am either looking up or seeing for the first time when I hit record to answer these. So it's coming straight from the heart. It's honest. I'm not the most intelligent guy on the planet. I'm trying to give you kernels of information and trying to stretch your brain. That's the whole purpose of this podcast. And I've consumed a lot of content. I'm a voracious reader. I listen to a lot of audiobooks as well. And I'm trying to just bring information out there to enlighten your life and hopefully allow you to have a better day and get to your goals faster. So with that being said, I want to hop right into the questions. We got 3 good ones. Again, submitted from John from Pennsylvania. I'm going to hop into question number 1. When should you get out of bed if you wake up in the middle of the night? Holy cow. I wake up all the time in the middle of the night. And if I have to pee, I'm getting up. I'm going to the bathroom and I'm taking in that light and I'm training the lizard. So if I wake up in the middle of the night, I also toss and turn a bunch. I move like crazy unless I'm absolutely dead tired, exhausted. Even then, I'm still moving around a lot. I had a Whoop device for a long time. That device told me that I was constantly in the red and the yellow. I don't know if it's sleep apnea or what, right? Yes, I drink caffeine. I definitely take a lot of supplements. And I try not to rely on stimulants to keep myself up. Like if I'm tired, I will take a nap. Generally, I have a very difficult time napping. However, when I wake up in the middle of the night, if I really, really want to get back to bed immediately and I know that I can't sleep, I know, number 1, it's because I had too much caffeine or caffeine too late in the day. Number 2, it's because I'm dehydrated. My body's like, dude, you need water. What are you doing? And then number 3, if I have racing thoughts or there's too much on my mind, I get out of bed and I will meditate until I literally start to like drop, whether it's 10, 20, 30 minutes. I will sit there, I'll meditate and just be like, okay, mind, you want to wake me up from the sleep? This time is yours. Give me all the thoughts. And I just sit there and I put my fingers like this. If you're watching on YouTube, it looks like just thumb and index finger together in opposite directions. And I'll just sit there and I'll put that in between my legs, crisscross applesauce. And I just go, okay, go ahead. And I'll set my timer on my watch. And then whenever I feel in that meditation that, hey, this thing is done and over with, or hey, I'm getting tired, or hey, I'm stopping thinking, that's when I go and I crawl into bed. That technique helps me the most. I used to get up and I used to journal, but I found that allowing myself to just meditate or process thoughts was a faster way of getting to where I needed to go. Sometimes I didn't want to get up in the middle of the night and write for 20 minutes, but if getting up and writing or taking notes, right, or drawing or doing something is fine, do that. But if you're waking up consistently in the middle of the night and then you're reaching over and you're grabbing that, I don't even have my cell phone near me, but if you're grabbing your phone and you're looking at that blue light, that's going to wake up your receptors, shut off your melatonin, and actually stimulate your brain to wake up even more. So if you are sleeping with your phone next to you and blasting your face full of blue light and aren't even wearing blue light blockers like these puppies, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're just keeping yourself up for longer. And I would say 90% of people out there probably do this on a nightly basis. So definitely something to think about there. Getting up in the middle of the night, journal, pee, meditate. My recommendation: stop sleeping in the same room as your phone. Stop it. Go buy an old-fashioned alarm clock and get an Alexa device, whatever you need, but just stop putting your phone next to the bed. Stop watching TV before you go to bed. Stop scrolling through Instagram before you go to bed. Read a book, right? Do something else. Have a nightly routine that allows you to stay asleep for longer. And if you're not sleeping well, it's because you're not using your body and utilizing the tools that you need to on a daily basis. Go work out a little bit harder. Guarantee you're going to fall asleep just fine. Okay. That's all I have for that question. I'm going to pause my watch. Question number 2, is there a way to fall asleep quickly? Okay, we're on the sleep train. So a lot of my clients have definitely had trouble sleeping. And John, I know you and I have spoken about this question in particular quite a bit. And what I'll say is this, okay? I've read so many blog articles and so many videos on like how US Air Force pilots fall asleep in 2 minutes and how Navy SEALs sleep for only 8 minutes a day. Every sort of clickbaity article that talks about that and talks about these techniques, you have to understand that these are individuals out there that their genetics and their genes and their biology and their physiology and their demands and their caloric intake, all of these different things impact those people. And what works for someone else is not necessarily going to be what works for you. I don't know how we're still trying to like take this mass solution and impose it on everybody, right? Every major news article out there is like, this the one trick you need to know to work less and produce more. It's like, well, okay, again, everybody's an individual, especially in today's world, but what works for you is not in particularly going to be what from what somebody else does. Okay, just because David Goggins does what David Goggins does doesn't mean that you have to do what David Goggins does. So I want to answer the question as best as I can. Is there a way to fall asleep quickly? For me, it is literally reciting a mantra. Okay. I just recite a mantra and I just say, my eyes are getting heavy. I am falling asleep. I'm falling asleep. Just bullshit like that. Honestly, my mind is heavy. My eyes are heavy. I'm releasing the tension from my muscles. I am so sleepy. Can't wait to have a whatever. I say stupid stuff like that in my head until I like just can't even think anymore. Okay. And it helps me I say it in my mind. I don't say it out loud, but I tell myself that I'm sleepy. I tell myself that I'm falling asleep. And usually I'm asleep within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. If I do not fall asleep quickly, much like I just talked about, it is because I had caffeine too late in the day or too much caffeine. Okay. Or it's because I was watching a movie, right? Or I didn't use my body the way I needed to. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't work out hard, right? Whatever. I also notoriously, I will stretch. Stretching before bed will make you sleepy, right? So if you get out of the shower and you come back and you stretch for 10 to 15 minutes, I stretch for about 18 minutes a day. I do static stretching, static hold stretching, and whatever big muscle groups or small muscle groups I feel they're tight. If I stretch before bed, I am asleep within 5 minutes, guaranteed. So reciting a mantra, even though it's kind of dumb, right? Super tired, sleepy, can't wait for 8 hours of sleep, whatever. Tell my body that. And then stretching right before bed. Hot shower, awesome, right? Don't take cold showers before bed. You can if you want, if it's super hot in your apartment, but lower the temperature down to like 65 or 64 in your house. And then also recite that mantra, take a hot shower, get out. You're going to be super cold when you get out. And being super cold allows your body to sort of go into that hypothermic state that it needs to in order to fall asleep and stay asleep. Okay. If your body temperature rises too much, like if it's over 70 degrees in your house, your body will wake up because it's too hot. So you need to fall asleep in colder environments. It's typically more difficult to fall asleep in hotter environments unless you're exhausted, but that's a whole different story. Okay. Recite the mantra, definitely stretch before bed. I highly recommend that. And yeah, do what you can there. I mean, it's so different for everybody, but those are really my pro tips for that one. All right. So going into the third and final question, let's go. When you wake up with racing thoughts and you can't turn them off, what do you do? Man, relating back to the first question. So racing thoughts typically come from anxiety or depression, right? And so like in so many of my coaching sessions, and I even had a therapist tell me this one time. They said anxiety is fear of living in the future, too far in the future, and depression is a fear of living in the past, right? So anxiety comes from things that we're worried about in the future, and depression comes from things in the past. Typically, when people wake up at night, at least for myself and people that I've spoken to about this, um, it's one of those two things. You're either worried about something that's coming up tomorrow or something that's out of your control, or you're having nightmares about something that's happened in the past. And that's not, you shouldn't be ashamed of those things, but owning them and admitting them and be like, hey, I'm really worried about this presentation I have tomorrow at work, or I'm really worried about this fight that my partner and I had, and I want to make sure that they're okay. It's fine to recognize and label these racing thoughts, okay? But do not act on them, okay? My 110% holistic recommendation for this is your racing thoughts do not need to drag you along with them. I'm going to say that again. Your racing thoughts in the middle of the night do not need to drag you along with them. Acknowledge them, label them, be like, hey, this is a future thought I'm worried about this thing that's really out of my control. Me acting on that, me being emotional to that right now, me being upset about that right now is counterproductive to that situation and the desired outcome that I wish to have there. If we could do that, if people could just stop reacting, and if they could just label the emotions or the thoughts themselves, I say this with extreme gravitas, if you can just label those emotions, you wouldn't get dragged along with them, okay? So stop, acknowledge, label that, wake up with your racing thoughts, and be like, oh my God, I'm really worried about this thing, or that thing that happened in the past was really traumatic and it's keeping me awake now, right? I felt that way after the end of relationships, right? After the end of job losses, I couldn't sleep. I was always waking up. I was like, oh my God, that just happened. And I'm worried about this. And what am I going to do about this? And that was extremely exhausting, but sleep is so crucial, right? Sleep reduces your stress. It helps rebuild your muscles. You construct new neurons, right? You get rid of toxins. So many things happen when you sleep, okay? Typically, the more a person sleeps, the more refreshed they are, right? And the more ready to go they are. So you need sleep as part of your daily function. And when you don't have it, or when you're waking up repeatedly, you need to find a way to say, hey, this is a repeated thing that keeps me waking up at night. I need to find a way to either solve this problem, control it, or embrace it, right? If you can't do anything, you have to embrace it or let it go. And I see a lot of my clients get caught up about these things. I'm constantly asking them about their sleep. I do recommend taking magnesium at night. I think there's magnesium glycinate and magnesium citrate. Those are two supplements that will help you stay asleep. I would advise against melatonin for a long period of time. I know people that take Benadryl at night. I know people that take all sorts of, a ton of melatonin, and that will stop your body from from producing it naturally. Synthetic melatonin will stop your body from producing melatonin on its own, and it makes it really hard to come off of it or wean off of it, because your body really only needs a little bit. And about, I think, an hour or two before the sunset, your body actually, its own circadian rhythm says, hey, you can start ramping up melatonin, because by the time that sun does go down, your melatonin is sort of peaking. And there's a really good window for you to fall asleep in. So if you've never done a sleep study, or you want more research on that, go on YouTube and research sleep cycles, research circadian rhythm, and see how your body and its biological factors can essentially be impacted by your own circadian rhythm, which again is super individualized. So that's pretty much all I have for these questions. I think they were really good questions. Obviously, they're sleep focused, and I think that's an area that we could all probably improve on. So no phones in the bedroom. Take magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate. There are plenty of things you can do to find those out. You can order them off Amazon, or you can just go to the vitamin shop, whatever. If you need questions, you can reach out to me, as always, info@ckcollective.co, or 3questionspodcast@gmail.com is how you can reach me. Please go find the Instagram page for this as well if you're listening. It is @_3questionspodcast, and follow there. I'm just posting clips from various episodes. Eventually I may pull stuff from YouTube or some of these video clips, but I feel like for you guys, it's mostly audio. So stick with it here. And I'm super grateful for everyone that's been listening so far. Please keep submitting questions. If you have feedback, of course, I am always keen for that as well. And then if you need personal coaching, whether you're working on issues, relationship stuff, job stuff, you just want to level up, I will get you to where you need to go. Or if you want marketing help, CMO for hire product, that's all on the website. So any questions there, hit me up. You know how to reach me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.